Yo, YouTube family. What's up? It's your brother YT. Wake 'em up. Back at it again with another video. You already know what to do. And if you're brand new too, thumbs up this video so YouTube can push this content out. Smash subscribe to join the tribe. And ring the post notification bell as well. All right, let's get into it. Mass layoffs are destroying people's lives. They really are, because people have no backup plans. They banked on this job securing their future. Then they've been red pilled. They realized that there is no security in the job no more. Let's get into it, family. Let's go.
If you've been part of a company-wide layoff and you're curious how those decisions were made, this video is going to blow your mind because I'm going to tell you how decisions around corporate downsizing, aka headcount reductions, are made. This is coming from a former consultant who's worked on a few cost optimization projects. What I'm about to tell you obviously only applies if a company hired an external consultant, and those are usually larger companies. But you will never know as an employee because these types of projects are highly confidential. So the first step of the project is to look at the financials and discuss with leadership what the target metric, which is usually EBITDA, is. This will drive the range for the cost savings that we expect to get from this headcount reduction effort. Then we will request the org chart and the headcount data. So that's going to show the employee name, their title, who they report into. We're going to take this data, feed it into the system just to see the span of control and the levels of management. Span of control is the number of subordinates that report to one manager. Oh, I'm running out of time. Follow for part 2.
Waking up every morning to see if you can even log into your computer is a different kind of anxiety. I'm a federal government employee. I know more cuts are coming to our agency, and it's just a matter of time. I did conclude that if I lose my job, if and when, because I do think it's coming, that I am not going to stress myself out and apply for 200-300 jobs a week like I know a lot of people are doing. Like, I'm not doing that. And it's not that I don't need a job. It's not that I think I'm too good to do that. I think it may be time for me to rest if I lose my job. And I'm going to rest. I have surrogacy to fall back on. I am not going to stress out about a job, applying for a job that I probably don't even want. I've served this country in the military capacity. I've served this country in the civilian capacity, a country that clearly is not serving me. And I am not going to stress.
Best of luck in your search and in whatever new endeavor is destined to be next for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. Well, thank you again for your time this afternoon, and I hope you have a great weekend, Jasmine.
Thank you. You too.
We do ask that you sign. Do you have any questions for us now?
No, I don't.
Section of force. Yeah. Just let us.
Thank you.
All right, Aiden. Well, okay.
Okay.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. Don't even cry. Everything always happens for a reason. Everything always happens for a reason. Everything literally always happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. What's meant to be will be. At your hardest times, at your lowest times, you got to just say that. You have to understand it and really mean it when you say it, and know that, listen, man, this was meant to happen. I might not know why, but the Most High know why. And I trust him. I got full faith that he'll come through, that he gonna pull it through for me. You got to really feel that, though. And at the same time, you have to be accountable for your actions, the choices that you made that got you in that predicament. It might sound harsh, but where you are right now is a reflection of the actions you made in the past. Listen, man, a lot of people's lives are being destroyed because they didn't have time to pay attention to the signs to know that this was coming. They didn't heed the warnings from the conspiracy theorists, us, right? Me and you, or those that have been trying to warn people that this will come. The people that have been saying mass layoffs will come, that there's no security in the job market. See, some people were shunned. Some people was talked down on for not wanting a job, right? Some people were talked down on for wanting to follow their dreams. Well, you need to do something that's secure. Well, now y'all seeing it's not so secure like y'all may have thought. And I'm not saying that to be harsh, y'all. I'm just saying that because it's the real. Can't get mad at the truth.
Like it or not, the economy is struggling, and with talks of a recession, layoffs could be on the horizon. Some employers lay off employees in large groups, others do it individually, and some even do a combination of both. Either way, if you find yourself being laid off, make sure your employer is offering you some type of severance. My name is Desiree. I'm your favorite labor and employment attorney, and I'm here to break down the severance process for you. Let's dive in. Separation payments are generally offered to employees when they are laid off or terminated. Now, an employer does not have to offer severance to an employee, but they typically do to help alleviate the burden that comes along with being laid off or terminated. Now, an employer isn't going to give a severance payment without expecting something in return. A severance payment is almost always contingent upon an employee signing either a severance or separation agreement. A severance or separation agreement will include things like terms of departure, confidentiality obligations, non-disparagement clauses, the severance payment amount, and most importantly, a release of claims. Now, the severance payment provision of the agreement is arguably one of the most important provisions of the agreement. The severance payment is offered as consideration in exchange for the employee's release of claims in the agreement. The severance payment can be a fixed amount, which can be determined based on a certain number of weeks of the employee's pay. It can also be a lump sum or some other arrangement determined between the employee and the employer. Now, the release provision is the most important section of the agreement. In this section, employees waive all pending and potential claims against the employer. Claims that employees generally waive in the release provision of a severance or separation agreement include claims under Title VII of the Civil Rights Act, claims under the Americans with Disabilities Act, claims under the Age Discrimination in Employment Act, and even claims under the Family and Medical Leave Act. So it is incredibly important that you thoroughly read and understand the release provision of any severance or separation agreement that you receive. Employers often give employees time to consider severance or separation agreements before signing them. Now, for employees who are under 40 years old, employers typically give 7 days for the employee to consider the agreement unless state law provides for a longer period of time. For employees who are 40 plus, the consideration period is 21 days, and even after signing the agreement, individuals 40 plus have 7 days to revoke the agreement after signing. And finally, individuals who are 40 plus and being laid off in a group layoff, also known as a reduction in force, receive a consideration period of at least 45 days and a revocation period of 7 days. I hope this video was helpful. Comment down below and let me know if there's a specific provision of a severance or separation agreement that you'd like for me to walk through. Good luck.
Okay, you lost your job and you're freaking out like me. So the first thing you're going to do is take a deep breath, take a couple of days to just process, not think about it, and realize that you're going to be okay. Now, it's a new week and it's time to get going. You can't just sit around and be sad all the time, even if you are sad. And you got to figure out what's next. So, if you're anything like me, you're on TikTok, because what else are you going to do in the moment? Start to figure out what steps you need to take from here. So, have you filed for unemployment? Have you looked at rolling over your 401k if you had one? Have you started applying to jobs yet? Have you taken a look at your finances? Because that's going to be most important. In my case, I'm lucky enough to have a severance package for a few weeks, but that doesn't mean I should continue to spend money willy-nilly. So one of the things I'm doing this week is going through all my subscriptions that I know is not necessary, that I know I could part with. I may have a job in a week or 3 weeks or however long, but I don't know that, so I would rather start to take those precautions now.
The best thing that people could do is learn about the financial markets. If you're laid off right now, you have nothing but time, which means you have everything. Time is the most important attribute. You got time. You got time to focus now. You got time to pay attention. Learn, educate yourself, relearn, unlearn to relearn. Unlearn everything you was taught, because that didn't get you nowhere. It got you in the unemployment line. It got you at home without a job. So now you got to learn true forbidden knowledge, true information, the hidden information that they don't want you to know, the information that's been readily accessible to you, but you never was able to tap into it because you didn't have time, right? It's time to learn about stocks, crypto, learn about your 401k and how to take it out, or where to transfer it over to, how to invest it. Learn about precious metals and investing into them. Learn about Web3. Learn about the Great Reset, because that's what we're in right now. Learn. That's the best thing you could do right now, so that your next move can be your best move.
The landlord to collect more, therefore circumventing the system. Now, they talked to one business owner. He owns 2 Vitality Bowl restaurants in Northern California, and now instead of using 4 people to run his stores, he only has 2 employees. Okay, which means it takes longer to make customers acai bowls and other orders, and he's also raising prices by 10% to help cover the increased labor costs. And he also says, I'm definitely not going to hire anyone else. So that means the door is closed for anybody else who wants or needs a job here, and it also means worse service for the customers, waiting longer to get their food prepared, and the restaurant being shorthanded, simultaneously paying a higher price. So that's not going to really be a good outlook for the future of this business, because customer service is everything with restaurants, guys. Let me tell you, when I go to a restaurant, I don't care how fancy it is, I don't care how expensive the food is, what the presentation's like. If the service sucks, to me, that restaurant sucks. And part of good service is the server being attentive, or if it's a fast food place like this, getting your food in a reasonable amount of time. Like, you're going to a fast food place because you want the food fast. If you wanted to sit at a sit-down restaurant and wait for 15 or 20 minutes, then you could do that. And then there would be no need to go to a fast food restaurant.
This house, they're asking a whopping $3.3 million, and they purchased it back in 2005 for barely over $1 million. So now they're looking at getting triple, but at least they paid their dues. They put a lot of work into this house over the years, and they actually tried selling it back in 2021. It was under contract, and something happened, the deal fell apart, and now they're asking far more than they were, because back then they were only asking 2.4. Now they're asking an additional $1 million, and the property tax bill here is $28,000 a year.
And the other big problem with this increase in minimum wage over there is California's state minimum wage is $16 an hour. But essentially, by having fast food restaurants now be $20 an hour, it kind of puts that wage pressure on all the other businesses, even if it's not fast food, to pay more. Because now anybody looking for a minimum wage job is going to flock to fast food if there's even going to be any openings. And the other employers are going to be shorthanded looking for help, or be forced to raise their prices in order to get their wages up. So it's going to be a big problem. I'm going to be interested to see how this is going to be, guys. I'm going to be in California again this summer, and I'll definitely be doing some boots on the ground research on this while I'm there, and show you guys some of the prices and what's going on with wait times and service and all of that. I'm going to be curious to see for myself, so I'll definitely be making some videos about that while I'm out there. So of course, other restaurant owners that aren't firing people, they're looking for other ways to cut their costs, like reducing their hours, closing during slower parts of the day, or serving menu items that take less time to make, so they don't have to pay as many hours. And what makes matters worse is it also prevents entrepreneurs from opening up new businesses, because now that they have to pay people so much, it's like, wait a second, I was thinking about expanding and opening.
You know what's going to merge for real and what's going to go up? The demand will increase for the one-person business. See, it used to be, this was a couple years ago. You can still kind of do it now, but the government kind of wanted to where eventually you're going to have to pay even your VAs 401ks. You're going to have to give them help. You're going to have to give them health insurance. So they're doing all of this by design so that you essentially won't be able to employ others. But as of right now, the one-person business is still a thing. Running a business on your own and outsourcing and delegating your tasks that you don't want to do or don't need to do, so you can focus on the big picture, right? But the thing is this, I'm saying all of this to say, if you are one person, it's the time to learn how to make money from your laptop, because you could run a whole 6-7 figure company straight from your laptop. You can have a virtual address. You don't even have to have a physical address no more. Brick and mortar, that's gone. That's gone. There's no point in doing that. The brick and mortar buildings will be turned into apartment units. This is the setup for AI, y'all. Less employees, more robots. Y'all seen it. They got one person doing 2 people jobs, or one person doing 3 people jobs. The robots will do 3 people's jobs. And once they pay for these robots, which are going to be very inexpensive, you don't have to worry about somebody being tired, somebody getting sick, calling off, not performing well. You don't got to worry about none of that. And you don't have to worry about paying 401ks, pensions, none of that. So see it for what it is. AI coming this year, matter of fact. This year, more than it is right now. Y'all seeing the mass layoffs. Next, y'all going to see the solution, which is AI.
Okay, I am taking a walk to get some fresh air from the layoff hearings. and I'm just feeling really overwhelmed with emotion because, you know, they're going through every single individual person number by number, and they're saying who is receiving final notice, meaning being laid off, and who's being bumped, and who is safe. And you know, when your number is getting really close, you start to get really anxious. And my number gets close, and my number gets skipped. Which means that I'm not being laid off or bumped, which is fantastic news, okay? This is what I wanted. But I'm surrounded by every single person sitting near me, someone who received final notice. And I'm like, I know that I should feel good right now. And I just feel so upset that this is happening to so many good people. And I'm like, oh, I don't feel like I've calmed down in 6 weeks to feel my own emotions. But oh, I need to relax. I just need a second to cry and go back in, because even though I'm safe, now I'm gonna use my collective energy to fight for the rest of them, because they should not be experiencing this. Okay. Wish us luck. This is not gonna be over for a long time.
No, you don't need luck. You need the Most High. And you need a plan. Give it up to the man. He'll give you a plan. That's what you need. You need to place all your worries onto him. And he gonna handle them. Another thing you need in this hour is knowledge. Knowledge is power. For lack of knowledge, my people are destroyed. You don't want to be one of the ones destroyed. A lot of people are out here destroyed. Look at the nation. Look at the economy. Look at the job market. People don't know what to do. Their lives are being destroyed. They don't even have the knowledge of what moves to make outside of their job. You know, they ask a lot of older people after they retire, what will you do with all of this time? And most times they'll say, well, I don't know, because they've never seen their life outside of the 9 to 5. That's the problem right there. That's a major issue. Like I said, get educated with this time.
I did just get laid off, which is kind of crazy. I've never been laid off or fired or anything from a job in my entire life. I've always left because I had something else lined up. So this is a little new to me, a little new, unaware of how I feel about it. They announced it in a team meeting that they were going to be laying people off this afternoon, and my job as social media assistant is very low. I was also one of the last people to be hired, so I was preparing myself for this to happen. And then I knew to really prepare because they sent me a Google Meet invite for 15 minutes with the CEO and the financial officer. I said, oh, well, it's my time. So I went downstairs to my mother because I said, Mom, hey girl, what do I ask? What kinds of things do I need to ask them, and what kinds of information do I need to get in this laid off meeting before I leave the company? And I wanted to let you guys know what she said, because our economy, it's projecting to be not great times for people. And I'm not manifesting anyone being laid off in any way, shape, or form. Like, I'm manifesting you guys keeping your jobs, but I want you to be prepared and be able to ask for what you need to ask for if it happens to you as well, because this is the state of the world that we're in. So she first told me to ask how long I'm going to have health insurance for, like when my health insurance is going to cut out from my current employment. And then there's also this thing called COBRA, which is basically like you still have the health insurance, but you have to pay it out of your own pocket or something of that sense. I'm not really sure what that was, but they said that I do have COBRA or something. You look that up. I really don't know what that means, but ask about that. Also ask about your PTO, any unused PTO, if it's going to be paid out, if they're going to use your unpaid PTO to pay you all the way through until like the next paycheck. Like, my last day is at the end of April, but I got laid off in the middle of April. So I was like, are you using my PTO to pay me for my last 2 weeks, or am I getting paid my regular salary for my last 2 weeks? And then you're also getting my unpaid PTO on top of that. So ask them about that. Also ask if there's a severance that's not also like what you're getting paid in your last 2 weeks. So I'm not working. My last day is technically today. Like, I'm not working, so that I'm getting paid all the way until my last day, and that's like my severance. But if you're working all the way until your last day, ask if you get a severance pay as well, depending on how long you've been with the company. Who is your contact person for questions? If you have any questions once you do leave the company, who should you contact about those things, whether it's HR or if it's your like hiring manager or like whatever. Any things that they gave you, like I got a monitor, a keyboard, microphone, a work phone and stuff, because I was doing content creation. Ask them who to send that back to, when to send it back, and if they can pay for prepaid label and also the packing things that you need to send it back to them, so that's not coming out of your own pocket. Then ask for them if you are getting laid off specifically, which is for problems with the company, not problems with you. Ask them to write in a letter in writing that you are getting laid off and the reason you're getting laid off, that it has nothing to do with you, because you need that letter for unemployment benefits. So make sure they put it in writing. Okay, don't let them just say, I want that in writing, put it in my email. Make sure they mark you as rehireable. If you liked working for this company and you want to work for them again, ask them if they can mark you as rehireable, so that if their situations ever change and they need more people on, that they will have you on the list, that you're not marked as just like undesirable, if that's something that you want. Also ask who you should make your reference contact. If you are looking for a new job, ask them if you can use your like main point of contact or your like immediate boss or whoever as a reference, so that you can put them down when you want to apply for other jobs. There's definitely other things that you should also ask. Maybe I didn't ask everything. I don't know. I'm just a girl and this was my first time. You know, I'm learning things. But if you guys have anything else that you should ask, please put it in the comments down below. Also, because I am out of a job and income's not coming very, steadily any longer, if you could follow me on Instagram and YouTube, that would be so amazingly beautiful. Thank you so much. I will be vlogging and talking about my experience of being laid off and just like figuring things out for the next however long this is gonna last on the YouTube. So if you are interested in that kind of content, or you just want to see a girl trying to figure it out, like and subscribe.
Family, drop a comment below. Let me know what y'all think about this video. What do y'all think about these mass layoffs happening again and again and again, every single day, every single week, every single month? What do y'all think about them? I want to hear your opinion in the comments below. Well, I see it because you can only read it. But yeah, I'll read it in the comments below. And let me know what you think you should do moving forward. Because it's clear as day, man. The job market, it's pretty much over, man. The bosses can't hold on. Their companies are going under. You got to look at it for what it is. People just like, oh, why are they doing this to us? Well, you got to see, like, these companies are losing money. These companies are going under. We're talking about billion-dollar companies are going under. We're talking about brick and mortar is going under. We're talking about every single industry dang near is collapsing. Babylon is falling. They used to be balling. Now they falling. You don't want to be one of the ones that falls with it. Right now, and I say this on a lot of my videos, but economic downturn, that's what we're living through right now. They saying recession is hitting this summer. We already know we're living through a depression right now. But look, through economic downturn is where a lot of millionaires, first-time millionaires, are created. Same thing happened in 2008. People that were innovative, they started something for their family. They created generational wealth for their family. So now's the time to get in your mind. Start thinking. Find a problem in the marketplace, in the world, and solve that problem. If you can solve that problem, you will become wealthy. Your goal might not be wealthy, but you might become wealthy. Your goal might not be wealthy, but you'll be financially secure and out of survival mode. Drop a comment below, family. Let me know what y'all think. If you made it to the end of the video, I appreciate you watching, man. Peace into my Hebrew family. Shalom.